In this tutorial for Team Yankee, I'm going to discuss infantry saves. So to recap, what happened in the shooting step is we checked the range, we checked line of sight, we declared the targets, we rotated to face the targets, hit the targets, we assigned the hits. Now we need to roll saves for these infantry, and how do we do that? Well, first we have to figure out, are they infantry? And how we do that is we go to the card and it says infantry unit. So they're going to do an infantry save. So in this video, I'm not going to cover how to do tank saves. These are armored tanks. I discussed that in another video, how to do that. So all three of those are armored tanks. This one's an unarmored tank. I discussed that in another video. And then, of course, aircraft, I'm going to discuss in another video. So this is just infantry. And how do they make their save? Armor saves for infantry is pretty simple, so we'll just take this. It doesn't matter if it's the medium base, a large base, or a small base. You basically go to your card for your infantry, and you look and it says infantry save 3 plus. So they're going to save on a 3 plus. So let's say this Shilka is out here, and it shot, and it hit this unit. So how do we know if this unit's still in the game or not? They have to make their infantry save, which was a 3 plus. So they roll, and let's pretend they get a 3, they're okay. 3, 4, 5, if they roll a 6, they'd be okay. But if they roll and they get like a 1 or a 2, they are removed from the game. That's pretty well it. If they got hit multiple times, let's say they got hit twice, they got to do 2 saves. They made 1 but failed 1. If they fail 1 of them, they're gone. Now the same thing would apply if this was a situation they'd have to do 2 saves, they would have to do 1. And they failed, well, they really failed, so they're gone, and this one made it, so it's still in the game. So that's pretty simple. I mean, it's not any more difficult than that, but we do have some situations we have to look at. One situation we need to look at is if they're in foxholes, what happens? So let's say each of them get hit, and they're in a foxhole, so they have to do their 3 plus save. They failed. They made theirs, and they made theirs. So since they made theirs, they're okay, nothing happens. They failed. Normally they would be removed from the game, but they're in what's called bulletproof cover. And how you find out if it's bulletproof cover is you go to your rule book on page 33, and up here, this is all the terrain, and up here it says bulletproof cover. So no, 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 yes. So that gives you bulletproof cover. So do hills and so forth. So you can tell what gives you bulletproof cover. This is very important for infantry. This is like their armor. So he's got some armor now because he's like in his foxhole, so the dirt's kind of protecting him. He's not out in the open, but he failed to save. What you need to do now is, if you're the attacker, is you need to go to your firepower. So the firepower says 5 plus. This person needs to roll 5 or higher to take them out. They roll a 1, failed, nothing happens. But if they do roll that 5 or higher, they are destroyed. Again, that only applies if they're in bulletproof cover. So this is not the only bulletproof cover they could be in, because they could be in a building. So let's say this is a situation. We're going to have them be outside the building, and these two be in the building, and they've each taken 2 hits from the Shilka. Shilka's done, oh, really awesome. So they're going to do their save, and they fail both. They're not in bulletproof cover. So if they would have made 1, failed 1, it doesn't matter. They're gone. No bulletproof cover, they're gone. So they're going to try to make their save. They made both, so they're okay. They failed 1, so they have to do a firepower 5 plus to take these guys out. And they rolled a 4, but let's say they rolled 5, it's out. But let's say that they failed 2 saves. They get 2 firepower tests, and they only need 1 5 or 6 to take them out. Gosh, I cannot roll a 5 or 6 with these. There we go. And they would finally be removed. So for every failure, they get to do a firepower test to remove them. Now, the last thing I want to go over would be those. Now, what do I mean by those? I'm talking about brutal. So I'm going to take these guys back out here. We're going to see what happens. We're going to pretend that there's more of these guys out here. So there's 3, and each of these took 1 hit from their brutal gun. Well, what does brutal have to do with it? Well, if we look, infantry and unarmored tank teams re-roll successful saves. So let's see. Made it, had to re-roll, made it. So they're okay. Made it, made it, made it, made it. Well, let's pretend like they failed. So they rolled a 1 on their re-roll. Because they're in bulletproof cover, have to do a firepower test. And on this one, the firepower is a 2+, destroyed. If they would have failed 1, they would immediately be taken out because they're not in bulletproof cover. So be careful with brutal weapons. There is a re-roll involved if they make their save. And so that is how infantry make their saves.